Today, a facial biometric company, iProov, is hosting a webinar with the Department of Motor Vehicles to discuss digital identity program. DMV and company officials will discuss the challenges of developing a trusted digital identity system for drivers across California. We are joined by AJ Amlani of iProov, who's hosting today's webinar with the DMV, as well as AJ Gupta, Chief Digital Transformation Officer of the DMV. Thank you for joining us both.
Thank you very much for having us.
All right, well, both of you can one of you can choose to start in telling us about today's webinar. What will be discussed, what will be presented?
So we actually just had the webinar, really well attended. It was a fantastic webinar, but it's available actually online as well for a recording. Why don't we have Ajay Gupta actually tell us a little bit about what the topics were that were covered in the webinar today?
Sure. So we talked about what does a digital identity mean for state of California residents, how it's going to benefit them, how it will be used, what it will look like, and what are the benefits to the economy as a whole.
I wanted to ask you a question about that. Do you think that Californians and Americans in general are ready to have their eyes scanned to do business with the DMV? I know that iProov, this company, has also partnered with other government organizations worldwide. So do you think Americans and people in the world, are they ready to accept this?
Well, I can tell you that the people, the residents, are really ripe for this particular use. You know, with the use of social media today, all the digital services that are available, they're ready to use their mobile phone to get services, to buy things, to verify their information, etc. So I can also tell you that people are used to taking selfies of themselves today. So that's not new, right? It's been around for a bit. So this is no different. And it's not really about eye scanning. It's about making sure that we can prevent the fraud. We can make sure you're real. We can make sure you're you. And really, everybody is ready to take on that journey, given that selfies have been out there for the longest time, in my mind.
I wanted to ask about iProov and the company itself. And, you know, I think a lot of people have seen movies, people using this eye technology. Is it really anything like that? And what have you done with other organizations that you've partnered with?
Sure. Thank you very much for the question. That's a great question. I first discovered the use of biometrics for consumers back in 2003 at the Department of Homeland Security, when people were used to getting asked a lot of intrusive questions to come into the country. And then when they were just asked to put their fingerprint down, all of a sudden the border agent would just say, "Welcome to the United States." And it was just such an incredible experience to sort of observe this firsthand, that over time, the commercial use of biometrics I've become a huge advocate for. And you've seen it on Apple devices, you've seen it on Google devices, you've seen it on your Microsoft laptops. And over time, consumer adoption of biometrics has really just gone through the roof, because people understand it's a more secure way and a more convenient way to be able to identify yourself without giving up a lot of personal information like usernames and passwords, or the size of your loan from when you were 15 years old or 20 years old trying to apply for a car loan. So you're giving up less information really than you would typically. The technology itself doesn't work on using or reading the eyes. It's actually just the face. It's really just ambient lighting off of the screen of a laptop or off of a cell phone that reflects against your face and verifies that you're a live human being there and not a deep fake. You just heard previously on this newscast a company that was funded by NVIDIA to create digital avatars. Really, there's a lot of generative AI tools now today that are actually creating fictitious faces, and you can actually make myself into Leonardo DiCaprio real time here if we had the time, and be speaking live as if I was Leo. So I mean, the challenge that we're facing here is a global threat with near-peer adversaries overseas, and also economies that are overseas that are funding their own capabilities through identity theft and also through ransomware. And what we're trying to do is really protect against that.
All right, one last question here before we run out of time. Mr. Gupta, I wanted to ask you, the DMV hasn't exactly been known for its groundbreaking technology. Sometimes when I go into the DMV, I notice that they're using pretty old machines. Is this going to mean a significant investment in technology?
Well, I want to say that things have changed, and that's why I'm here at the DMV. And we had leadership come in and really revamp the way things happen at DMV. So I hope you make another trip to the DMV and change your opinion on it. I hope you don't make a trip to the DMV.
Right.
And in fact, you should be able to get all your services online.
Exactly.
Between 95 to 97 of the percent of the services that you would look for, you don't need to be at the DMV. You can get it from alternate channels. I can tell you that this should actually change the way consumers get other services, not the DMV services, but other services using DMV issued driver license. That's what I'm really hoping for, creating that convenience for our residents and for our users, so they can really get the services they need without having to actually physically make a trip in many cases. And also, right people get the service, reduce the fraud associated with some of the online disbursement of benefits, etc., that you have seen in the news in the past.
All right, both of you, we're going to have to leave it there. Mr. Amlani, Mr. Gupta, thank you both for joining us.